You download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We can't thank you enough for joining us this morning, Wednesday morning, September 28th. Jeff, good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Had a lot of stuff going on yesterday. Was able to catch some of the media day over the last 2 days. Pistons had practice yesterday. Got to see Killian Hayes, and his shot changed a little bit. Isaiah Stewart was shooting. It was fun. Just some other day looking at what the Pistons are up to.
All right, very cool, very cool. We got a lot to get to. Malcolm Rodriguez, the second leading tackler on the Detroit Lions. Aaron Rodgers, I never knew this, called the Matt Flynn game. Did you know this?
I did not. I do not.
Remember the Matt Flynn game, 500-plus yards against the Lions, Week 17, got him a contract. They drafted Russell Wilson. We all know the story.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers called the game. We'll get to that at 8:15. That was fascinating.
I got to hear about this.
Penei Sewell being the number one rated right tackle in the NFL at the moment. Anthony Broome will join us at 8:45. What to expect from this Lions offense on Sunday? If I'm on Ross St. Brown, isn't a go. I really do not believe Swift is healthy.
No,
I don't believe he'll be available for Sunday.
Shoulder and the ankle.
St. Brown, you're probably teetering on maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, he might be able to play through it, but that's
going to be problematic.
That's tough, yeah.
9:15 for the first time this year. Contenders or pretenders in the NFL. Overreacting? Are we?
We'll
to
find
Dan
out.
Campbell's decisions?
We'll find out.
All that and much more. Of course, we got to talk some Jaden Ivey later on in the show as well, second hour. But let's just get it started. Malcolm Rodriguez. Jeff, he is the second leading tackler on the Detroit Lions. Alex Anzalone, obviously, number one. He's a linebacker. That is his job. But when we talk about the first two drafts that Brad Holmes has overseen, what have you gotten? Players that contribute to your football team. Is Malcolm Rodriguez one of the 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 best linebackers in the NFL? No, he is not. Can he be? Maybe. But the reality is you drafted a starting linebacker in the 6th round. A starting linebacker. Not bad if you ask me. Now, could you say, well, Adam, the linebacking core is just that weak, or it's not good enough? Well, okay, fine. I can live with that. Fair enough. But, you know, in life, there are two certain types of people. People that walk in late. Good morning, Alex. And people that can come in and do the job correctly like Malcolm Rodriguez. Fish, get the hell up and get out of there. Get up. Get the hell out of there. You have no idea what you're doing. Oh, my God.
Fish was keeping up.
I love you, Fish. Way to step up for the team. 10 out of 10.
That's Malcolm Rodriguez
I'll buy
right
you
there.
tickets to go watch a cricket game. Fair? Can you even do that in this country?
What, watch cricket?
Well, yes, live, in person.
Yeah, there's some stuff there's some stuff in Florida occasionally.
All right, there you go. There you go. So having said that, we're 2 drafts in. You've had an Aleem McNeil. You've had an Amon-Ra. You've had a Penei Sewell. You've had Derek Barnes give you snaps last year.
Right.
You have now Aiden Hutchinson, full go, first-round pick.
Right.
Josh Vizquel, still waiting to see him on the field. Kirby Joseph, you're going to see more of him now that Tracy Walker is injured. And you're getting reps out of a 6th-round draft pick. A linebacker.
And he's not playing bad. I mean, second in tackles, 2 tackle for losses, I
Pass
think.
coverage, I wouldn't say is something I'm high on. I don't think it's all that special. I don't think he's awful either,
I think he's more just like a downhill.
I think he's just average as a pass covering linebacker, but
he can get better.
He can get better. He is a rookie, and he has shown an innate ability to read the play developing. That's why he's being involved, actually, in so many damn tackles, Jeff.
And he knows his job, and that's one thing that Kelvin Shepard preached about early on, especially in Hard Knocks. But for me, looking at Malcolm Rodriguez, the most impressive thing is the fact that you're paying him $751,000 this season. Like, think about that, with an $187,000 dead cap hit. So it totals to about $900K. You're paying Malcolm Rodriguez $900,000 to be your second leading tackler. I mean, think about this for a second. As a Lions fan, when's the last time you could say you found starters in the 4th and the 6th round? And in the future, I think Chase Lucas is going to be somebody that you're going to look to. So that could even be 3. A 7th round starter. It's unheard of. And I know Tracy Walker, he was a 3rd round pick. You have Amani Awaria, he was a 5th round pick. But with what he's doing in the last 2 drafts, Adam, we can say what we want about Josh Pascal. You can nitpick all we want. You're not going to hit on every single draft pick. And I don't even think the jury's written out on Josh Pascal yet.
But look what we're talking about.
But guys like Derek Barnes, you're not going to find, studs everywhere. You just want guys that will play and that'll contribute.
What are we talking about right now? We're talking about nitpicking.
Right.
A rookie class, and a second-year class. Think about that. Mm-hmm. Tracy Walker wasn't Tracy Walker to what, year 3, year 4?
Right.
Fair enough. We are looking at players that are already coming in, contributing to your football team. And really the key questions with this defense is who's going to replace Tracy Walker, who's going to replace that level of communication, which is really tough to say because you saw it kill you at the end of the game. We can look at Aaron Glenn. We can look at Dan Campbell. We can look at a lot of things. The reality is, I like your chances of stopping Minnesota regardless of what happened. If your starting safety, your captain, is out there. And Tracy Walker, which he wasn't.
And that's the thing that frustrates me about Malcolm Rodriguez. Not about Malcolm, but the narrative around Malcolm is when people say, well, I mean, he's just on a team with no linebackers. That's why he's playing. Yeah, well, yeah, but if you put him on a defense with more talent, won't that make him better? Look at the lack of talent on this Lions defense, and he's your second leading tackler. Imagine if you have a legitimate pass rush. If you have a legitimate secondary. That's going to make Malcolm even better. So, again, that could go both ways. I think he's doing his job, especially for a 6th-round pick. That's all you could ask for, Adam. Him to contribute, and he's doing just that. So, I mean, praise to him. And you could see he's getting better game by game. I think he won in the heavyweights last night and said his goal is 2 picks by week 9. He has legitimate goals for himself, and I love that, man. He's a dog.
Look, 22 total tackles through 3 games, almost 8 a game at the moment. He's a steal. You want to talk about a steal in a draft? You're getting so much more value out of a guy from the 6th round,
right?
For a fraction of the cost. To what you could look at Leo Chenal.
We had the 2nd round. We were talking about Leo Chenal. And Nakobe.
Now Devin Lloyd is that dude. By the way,
he's that dude.
All the mock. Look, we both agree. We did way too many mock drafts.
A ton of them.
It was a lot. But in the scenarios where before everything had happened and we had the Lions trading back, who was the consensus pick for me at number 8?
It's always Devin Lloyd.
Devin Lloyd.
Yeah, he didn't sneak past, 14 to us?
Fell.
He fell all the way to the bottom of the 1st round.
He fell, and he's having a hell of a start to the year. But go look at the linebackers in the class. Malcolm Rodriguez is just as productive as all of them. And you got him in the 6th round.
Right.
Those are the little, check boxes that you can check off, or the little, wins you can take away from a draft class. The fact that you're getting that type of production at a fraction of the cost. A 6th-round pick. Malcolm Rodriguez has been phenomenal. Again, if he was a 1st-round pick playing the way he has, I think we're having a different conversation, though. So things have to be reeled in a little bit.
But look at
we love him,
right? And
we appreciate him, and we really acknowledge his play because he's a 6th-round pick.
And he's making.
Who are we scolding right now? That was the number 8 overall pick in his draft class for his performances. T.J. Hawkinson.
Right.
If Hawkinson was a 6th-round pick, emerged for a few seasons, struggled with injuries, came into this year and continued to do what he was doing, you would probably ignore it. But he's the number 8 overall pick.
And you're paying T.J. $5 million. You're paying Malcolm $900,000. That's where really it comes into play for me. The salary difference.
And
it's a steal.
Jeff Okudah.
Another one.
The last 2 years, you've been paying him number 3 overall pick money.
Right.
To play 10 games, be injury prone, and when on the field, gets beat a ton. What is he doing this year?
He's responding.
He's responded. He looks damn good. Love what he's doing at the line of scrimmage. I compared it to Jalen Ramsey and his effect at the line of scrimmage against wide receivers. He's easily your best corner. And we're not talking about Jeff Okudah. I love that.
Right.
There's nothing better. Just like I don't want to have to talk about second-round picks always being hurt. Just like I don't want to have to talk about DeAndre Swift not being hurt. But that is the reality of the NFL. And the reality is if you produce above your pay grade, if you are producing at a level that wasn't expected, you are more endearing to a fan base. I think the fan base doesn't want Hawkinson to succeed. Of course they do.
Right.
But Malcolm Rodriguez is a great example of getting production from a 6th-round draft pick. That is insane.
And your best receiver is a 4th-round draft pick. just keeps impressing me. I mean, honestly.
Look, we can agree the 2nd-round picks haven't been the best. They haven't delivered yet. Pascal hasn't seen the field. You still have Jameson Williams. There's a million things you can bring up to me. Fair. This guy might have 7 or 8 starters by week 6 from his 2 draft classes.
And Kirby, you're right.
And who'd we talk about? What teams did that? The Bills. The Chargers stacked draft classes. We talked about stacking draft classes last week. How important it is. If you could pull 2, 3, 4 starters a year, that is impressive. That is unheard of.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. You potentially have a gold jacket right tackle who we'll talk about at 8:30.
That was his first pick.
You have a wide receiver who was taken in the 4th round that many are liking to Cooper Kupp, given Cooper Kupp was taken in the 3rd round.
Right.
His exceptional route running ability.
Then you have starters like Ali McNeil, like somebody who's just solid for you. You know,
Malcolm Rodriguez.
Malcolm
solid
Rodriguez.
for you.
Yeah, 100%.
When we get back, Aaron Rodgers, Jeff, called the majority of the plays against the Lions in that Week 17.
Jesus.
Matt Flynn abomination game against the Detroit Lions. And I can't believe it. It's a great story. We'll get to it in just a second. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Odds Trader.
Guys, oddstrader.com is the #1 site for your game day bets, play-by-play updates, live scores, and the best price from every game from multiple sports books. We have Thursday Night Football tomorrow. You got the Miami Dolphins taking on I believe the Eagles. I can't, if I'm not mistaken. Who are they taking on tomorrow?
Bengals with those sweet white helmets.
Miami versus the Cincinnati Bengals. It's going to be a good game to bet on. And this week, Lions facing the Seattle Seahawks at Ford Field. A lot of action for you. Check out oddstrader.com and find your best bet.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risks, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader Bet Tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
And we are back live here on the Morning Woodward Show, 8:15. Jeff, I mean, January 2nd, 2012, the Detroit Lions lose to the Green Bay Packers on the road. The 14-1 at the time Green Bay Packers, 45-41 in an absolute thriller. Going through this box score, my God, brings back memories. Matthew Stafford, 36 of 59, 520 yards.
Career high.
5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
2 interceptions. Calvin Johnson, 11 catches, 244 yards.
That's the GOAT.
And 1 touchdown. But they were outshined by Mr. Matt Flynn, 31 of 44, 480 yards, 6 touchdowns. One interception. Jordy Nelson. 162 yards. Three touchdowns.
You forgot the wonderful Brandon Pettigrew. 7 catches for 116 yards.
It was his best game ever, and it was his only game ever. Kevin Smith. Everybody remembers Kevin Smith. Yeah. All-time performance from Kevin Smith in this game. 9 carries for 35 yards. My goodness, Kevin Smith absolutely punished the Green Bay Packers in that 45-41 loss. How can we all forget Titus Young? 4 catches, 24 yards. Titus Young.
What a player.
Hey, you know what? Ndamukong Suh had a sack that game. That was good.
Yeah, there's no defense being played there.
The whole reality behind it is Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and I allegedly, it's been public knowledge, I wasn't aware, that he called that game. Were you aware of this?
No, I was not aware of this.
Aaron Rodgers was the OC for that game.
So he got Matt Flynn paid.
And he is basically, in my opinion, the best offensive coordinator ever. Matt Flynn, 480 yards, 6 touchdowns, and a pick.
Career
lost his job months later to a third-round rookie pick. I mean, that is insane. I have no words. Aaron Rodgers should be an offensive coordinator and eventually an NFL head coach. He would probably be Bill Belichick.
If you would have told me that Matt Flynn, like just close your eyes, I'll tell you the box score, and I'll tell you Matt Flynn had a higher quarterback rating, threw for more touchdowns, and threw for less interceptions than Matthew Stafford, you'd probably look at me like, what? And he had an average, he had a higher, passing attempts. It's like he had 11 yards per attempt. Matt had 8. Matt Flynn was slinging that thing. And that's ridiculous, man. Aaron Rodgers was the play caller. And he's talked about that, too, where, especially in Packers games now, like, he can pretty much check out of anything. You know, it's almost like Matt LaFleur gives him the call, and it's, like, processed through Aaron Rodgers to see if they're going to do it or not. And that's not every single time, but Aaron has weigh-in. So the man can call plays.
I thought it was fascinating because you look at that season. That was a 10-6 football team, right? And the reality was, I couldn't believe that was. I believe Jim Schwartz was the head coach at the time too.
Yeah, at this time.
That was the year they lost.
This is the second year. Remember we talked about that? 2-14.
Third year.
Or excuse me, sorry, because it went from 3 to 6 to 10.
Then 10. Yep.
So this would be the third year of Jim Schwartz.
And what was crazy to me is that is the same year. You literally followed it up with a very similar performance. You had lost to Green Bay, given up a ton of points, and you roll into New Orleans, and you give up a ton of points. Calvin went off for 200, I think, in that playoff game, too. His only playoff game. What a damn shame. Was it Calvin's only playoff game? I could be wrong. Or was 2014?
Might have been that'd be first of 2.
Yeah. I think he had one under Schwartz and one under Caldwell. Could be wrong. Regardless, I think it's fascinating. And that's going to lead me to my follow-up question, Jeff. What player on this team would you want being an OC for the Lions if Ben Johnson, let's say, couldn't make it for a single game?
Man, I would have been probably one of the backups quarterbacks because they can't play. But you saw Tim Boyle during that players-led practice. He was out there with the headset, the play call sheet. He was calling plays, and I think Ben Johnson, or I can't remember who it was, who alluded to Tim wants to be a coach, and when his career's all said and done, he wants to be a coordinator. But if you had to be a current Lions player, that's a tough one. I think there's a lot of high IQ guys on the team too, but it's hard. Aaron Rodgers is he's just different. Like we don't really have, like you could say Jared, but you don't have your starting quarterback then at that point. So I think Jared probably the closest. Because him and Ben are just on par with everything. Like they are aligned with their way of thinking. So if anyone knows offense, it's probably Jared Goff. At least how to coach offense.
Speaking of Jared, would you want to take a guess at Jared Goff's rank in the NFL in terms of QBR?
His rank?
Where does he rank among all quarterbacks?
I'll say top 10.
Interesting. Really that confident in him?
Why not?
Why not?
Maybe between 10 and like 13, 14.
No, you're spot on. I'm giving you the option here. I'm genuinely surprised.
I don't think he's in the top 10, but maybe he's just outside of it, maybe. Or at 10.
Well,
where does he stand?
I'll break it down for you like this. He's number 8.
Oh, so he is in the top 10.
He is in the top 10. Only behind Trevor Lawrence. I don't consider Cooper Rush, but I guess he can count. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Tua Tagovailoa.
That's pretty good company to be in.
You know, of that list, there are only a handful of quarterbacks with a higher passer rating than him. He's also one of the fewest sacked quarterbacks in the NFL, though. So, what Jared Goff is doing right now is impressive. 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's doing a hell of a job. Ben Johnson, how much credit you want to give to him and really turning it around? I think it's a team effort.
Right. He's more comfortable.
He's definitely more comfortable under Ben. And let's be honest here. If you can't look at the DJ Chark signing and not already see the value of it, I don't think we can have a real conversation together. Mm-hmm. That has helped tremendously. Josh Reynolds, you saw what it did for him last year. It's continued this year. Hawkinson's a scrub right now. Nothing's changed. We'll move on from that. Swift out of the backfield, explosive. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown emerging as one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. Definitely top 10, top 12. Cool. He is now confident. And we saw this on Hard Knocks, and I thought he got a bad rap for it, where it's like, I'm really confident in everybody, and I can trust that I can throw the ball and they'll go up and make a play. And for me, that was encouraging, because now you're allowing your quarterback to have confidence. And one of the most important things as a quarterback is you trust that individual, that wide receiver, to be where he's supposed to be. Take the hot read when he's supposed to. Understand his role. Make the secure catch. Run the route deep enough. Don't be short on your routes. Don't be too long on your routes, right? That's why he loves Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? He does everything the right way.
Yep, i.e. Amon-Ra.
So you have, in Jared Goff right now, a quarterback that's comfortable. And through 3 games, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, I don't think you could have asked for more through 3 games.
Right.
Am I frustrated that this is a 1-2 football team? I am. I think they're better than that. I believe they deserve to be 2-1, but that's not how the NFL works. And when you have a coach that continues to shoot himself in the foot and his team, I can't help you. But there are a lot of positives. And Jared Goff, under a lot of pressure going into the season,
yep,
I think he's answered the bell so far.
And I think that's been the tail of the tape for Jared Goff in his career too. Like, if Jared has good coaching and has talent around him, he can win you games. I mean, he's shown it in L.A. with Sean McVay. Now, Sean traded him, or at least Les Snead traded him, but that was because of the relationship. Jared Goff still has something. People, when he first got here, the thing I wasn't going to do with other people, and all the fans talking about Jared's this, Jared's that, he's trash. I mean, that's irresponsible. I mean, look at Jared and what he's done in his career so far. I get it. He's a quarterback I still believe isn't going to single-handedly win you games, but if there's talent around him, like you just alluded to, he's been protected with that offensive line. He says it all the time. I have plenty of time to throw. You have receivers you can trust. You have Amon-Ra. You have guys that you can rely on. Now, T.J. Hockenson, whatever it is, we expect him to get better. But overall, Adam, it says a lot with this offense. And then Ben Johnson putting it all together with that run game. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league at play action.
You alluded to the conversations we were having in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I loved our balance, at least that we had talking to each other, because
very honest.
It was very extreme from the fan base and even people here that work at the network and really everyone in the local media. It was either extreme, he can do it all, he can take us where we want to be, or really the opposite side of it, which was he sucks, he'll never accomplish anything here, we need to draft a quarterback, we should have taken Malik Willis, we should have done this, we should have done that,
it's ridiculous.
Jared Goff sucks, he's not going to have a good season, yada, yada, yada. And what was our conversation? He's serviceable. He's good. He's actually a good quarterback. Is he elite? Is he one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL? No. Does he have a ceiling like Trevor Lawrence? No. Have we seen him regress before in his career? Yeah. Have we seen moments this year where he looks like that quarterback that you're like, oh, God, here we go again? Yeah. But he has more often than not delivered the goods for you. 3 games, almost 250 yards a game, 7 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and honestly, it's really one. I don't count the Minnesota one. It was basically a Hail Mary at that point. I'm not losing.
And then he had the
sleep over it.
miscommunication to TJ.
I'm
So
not
there's your
losing
2
sleep.
picks right there.
He is not thrown an interception where he didn't see the linebacker, or he left, or he stuck onto a receiver too long that the safety or somebody else cut it off, or he threw a pass behind the receiver and the corner was able to jump it, or too much in front of him and the corner was able to catch it. Whatever it may be, Jared Goff looks good so far, and I hope all of you watching. And I hope all of you that have criticized him really understand what you have. You have a guy that can play good football. That's it. Mm-hmm. Is he Patrick Mahomes? Lamar? Herbert? No. And I don't want him to be. Not because I would love.
Right. I get
Justin
what you're saying.
Herbert.
I get what you're saying.
But he's not that. So why am I going to bother? I know what he is. And I always use this example. If Jared Goff can be what Alex Smith was to the Kansas City Chiefs for the Detroit Lions, where in the next 2 years, you are not only in the playoffs, but maybe you win a playoff game. Dare I say you contend or win your division. Mm-hmm. He would have done everything and more that I could have ever asked for a bridge quarterback. And yes, I believe he's a bridge. That does not mean you can't win football games with him. That does not mean that you can't have a successful football team. That does not mean that he sucks. That just means in a game where everybody is looking for that quarterback, you got to take your chances. And if you draft one and it doesn't work out this year, okay, cool. You still have Goff on that season and the year after.
And Goff, so I'm just going to say it, Goff has the same record as Justin Herbert. And right now, so that's my point.
A win
though,
percentage, right?
Yeah, because coaching matters, and that's the bigger point. Like you can have a Justin Herbert, that's great. I mean, it is, it really is. Look at Tua. What was the conversation beforehand? It's Justin Herbert, Tua, Justin Herbert. But look at what Mike McDaniel is doing over in Miami. I think coaching is so important. I think for Jared, as long as you have the right coaches in place, he's going to be just fine. And Ben Johnson seems to be the right coach, so I'm all for Jared.
Coaching is, in my opinion, really taking Jared Goff and putting him above his level right now. That's what coaching's supposed to do. So you give Dan and you give really Ben Johnson a lot of that credit. And you give Brad Holmes credit for bringing in Chark or bringing in Reynolds. Right. When we get back, Penei Sewell is the highest rated right tackle in the NFL right now. Number 1, according to PFF.
Ooh.
We'll break down those grades. The Jeff Okudah grade, which is funny, but I understand why, and we'll get to that as well in this segment. But before we do, I got to tell you about the official studio sponsors of the Woodward Sports Network, and that is Planet Fitness, home of the judgment-free zone. You can get to a Planet Fitness near you to sign up today for $0 down, $10 a month. Your fitness is essential. You can visit them at planetfitness.com to get started if it's more convenient to you. But remember, 30, 45 minutes a day at the gym really changes your life, guys. Develop good habits, get to Planet Fitness, and sign up today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Listen, let me tell you about Alta, because guys, at Alta, uptime always matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. You have a big project coming up, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, 8:31. Jeff, Iafrate, Adham, Beydoun. Jeff. Penei Sewell. I talk about being fortunate in the NFL, right? Fortune plays a role. Brady, Belichick, fortunate. Bledsoe went down, right? A lot of things just happen. And it just so happens that in Brad Holmes' first draft class, it just so happened that it was a loaded, quote, loaded prospect class for quarterbacks.
Right.
And it just so happened that the first 3 picks were all quarterbacks. On top of it, there was a generational tight end who's basically a wide receiver in college. There's Jamar Chase, and then Miami sitting in front of you. Not any other team. Any other team in the NFL drafts Penei Sewell at 6. Jalen Waddle to the Dolphins at 6. Why? And it was absolutely the right pick.
Right.
Why? We need to give Tua weapons so we can figure out if he is our quarterback. And boy, they look really smart for it right now. Penei Sewell falls to you at 7. He's a top 3 pick, I could argue, in this past draft class.
Any other draft.
Or the year prior, maybe. There is some fortune to it. And the fact that he's the number 1 rated tackle, or right tackle, excuse me, at the moment, I think is nothing short of phenomenal. It's what you expected him to be coming out. Granted, you expected it to be on the left side, but like I said last year, Decker going down early really gave him an opportunity to catch up to the speed of the NFL. You know what? Looking back at it now, he probably would have adjusted by week 3, week 4, even if he was on the right side. But being at left tackle for those first 5-6 games, I think helped him tremendously. He moved to the right, didn't miss a beat, was one of the better 13, 12 right tackles in the NFL. Boom. Start the season, he's the best one. He is an absolute home run, Jeff.
And he's the youngest. That's the thing you got to look at, too. Like, even the guys in the conversation, like Andrew Thomas, Laramie Tunsil, Rashawn Slater, Trent Williams, Lane Johnson. These guys are all at least an year older than him. So not only is he in this conversation, but he's the youngest. And look at his durability. That's the thing that stood out to me, because even Andrew Thomas, Rashawn Slater now, Trent Williams, these guys, Lane Johnson, these guys have, missed games. And I get Lane is much older, so he's probably a different case. But for everybody else, and Trent Williams. But for the younger guys, for him to be as durable as he is, as young as he is, and to learn a new position and be elite at right tackle, that speaks a lot to his ability to pick up things. And he didn't play his last year in college, so he's already a year behind coming in, adjusting to the NFL, playing against grown men, and he's getting the job done. I think, especially in the run game, he is probably one of, if not the best run blocker in terms of looking at right tackles. I know his pass protection's solid, but his run blocking is where he excels. You put him in open space, he's going to pancake some guys. I mean, that's crazy to think about Adham. And the fact that, like I said, he is that young. I mean, he's 21, about to be 22 years old. And he's manhandling grown men. And he's, like you said, the highest rated right tackle according to PFF. I think it speaks a lot.
This is insane. His 78.9 grade is 6th overall across the league at the position. Not just right tackle, all offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
He has been phenomenal, and he's, knock on wood, Rashawn Slater out for the season.
Right.
Torn, I believe it's a bicep with Rashawn Slater. Could be wrong. I know it's a muscle tear. So I'm pretty sure it's a bicep tear, regardless of the point. Unfortunate. He's been healthy.
And Penei was banged up last year, and I believe he still played.
He still
in
played.
Those games.
He did play through it.
Think about that. I mean,
and you look at the pass protection rating that the Detroit Lions get, one of the best in the NFL. You look at all the time. It's essentially, watching Penei Sewell is really, and excuse the example, but I'm really trying to give you guys a visual here. Remember Revis Island? You would just look at that side of the screen and say, cool, I'm ignoring it. There's no way we can throw there. Wherever Penei Sewell is, you don't have to worry about it. I know there's no pressure going to come from this side. I know he's good. He's got it. You can leave him on his own against anybody in the NFL right now. And I would be confident. Micah Parsons, which we're going to see that matchup, hopefully. And not this week, the week after.
Yeah,
so 4 weeks from now.
Yeah.
After the bye.
After the bye, yeah.
You are going to get that premium matchup versus an edge rusher. Can't wait. Must watch, for me at least.
Yeah.
I can't wait. And I'm going to take Sewell in that matchup. Absolutely. DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm not sure his injury status after Monday night.
Right.
He'll be in that game as well.
And they might even move Parsons around and move him
of course.
away from Sewell.
They will. They absolutely
they're smarter
will.
than we even talk about. I don't think you want that matchup if you're the Cowboys. You want him moved around. But like you said, Adam, you don't have to worry about him. I think that's the biggest thing for me too as well. Like looking at this offensive line, the most consistent piece of it is Penei Sewell. Because of what? Frank Ragnow has been, prone to some injuries lately. Taylor Decker was out for the half of last season. Jonah Jackson, up until this season, has been another consistent part of that all-line. But like you said, Adam, one thing, some things are not like the other. And you're looking at this offensive line, and Penei's been there the entire time. He's been consistent. Penei Sewell is one of three players league-wide, any position. Right.
That through the first 3 weeks have been rated in the top 10 of all players rated by PFF. He's one of three. Special. That is all-pro stuff. He is having an all-pro season. And you know what year he's in? Can somebody remind me?
He would be hitting his second year.
His second year.
At 21.
And was he not phenomenal his first year?
Yeah, at 20.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't have to wait for the really good players that you select to showcase their talents, right?
He could play,
Just like Aiden Hutchinson in the second week of the season blows up, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, tied for a franchise record by a rookie?
Yes.
With 3 sacks.
Yeah, in a game. Yep. With 3.
And he did it at halftime, before halftime, actually.
Yeah, imagine if he didn't get injured.
We are looking at a new direction for this football team. We'll get to the head coach at what? 9 o'clock? No, 9:30, excuse me. We'll get to the coach at 9:30. But you will not be able to sit here and have a conversation with me about the talent this team is acquiring and the direction their talent are trending. Amon-Ra, Aiden Hutchinson. Wait till Jamison Williams comes back. Then how do you game plan for the Lions then?
It's cherry
Good
on
luck.
top.
Good luck. I already struggle thinking of how teams would even consider game planning for a healthy Lions offense. Without Swift, that's a whole different problem. Takes a lot out of the offense, but still, the point, good luck. Team is getting there. Now, whether or not coaching or something else is holding them back, we can talk about that later. But right now, Penei Sewell is arguably the best right tackle in the NFL.
And I don't want to leave one thing out. Hank Fraley. Like that, and I know Penei has all the talent in the world, but what Hank's done with his entire offensive line in terms of, from a coaching standpoint, like Vitae, you sign him to the big deal. I mean, this is the regime before, and everyone's questioning it. Now we're missing Vitae. And you look at Jonah Jackson, Pro Bowl last year. I know he was a replacement player, but still, Hank Fraley has done a lot of good things with this offensive line. I think he's doing a lot of good things for Penei Sewell in his career. So Penei Sewell's that guy, man. And what I tell you, we had you on Jeff and Gentry. Like, I can't remember the exact date, but I said that.
4 or 5 weeks ago.
It was a little premature, but I said, I'm never going to question Brad Holmes' ability to add talent. I know it's early, but you're never going to have to look at this team and say, they just don't have enough talent. I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about for the future. Brad Holmes is going to continuously add talent. So makes you excited.
If you want to nitpick on Brad Holmes in the second round, the second round picks, it's a curse. The Lions.
Right.
Okay. What is he giving you in the first round?
2 studs.
Penei Sewell, the more
studs,
proven one.
Potentially.
Potentially 3. But Penei Sewell, automatic home run there.
Right.
Aiden Hutchinson, for what it's worth, 3 sacks through 3 games. Yes, he was non-existent in the 3rd game of the season. He was on hit or miss and really non-existent against Philly. A lot of that to Jalen Hurts' ability to be special in the moment, but still. 3 sacks so far for a guy who, quote, is struggling. Not bad if you ask me. I'll take that kind of production.
Yeah.
Granted, again, all in one game. The context matters. But if he can get right, just get back to 90%, and let's see what we all expect from you. Pressure, hits, supporting the run. Just do what we know you can do. Has Brad Holmes done to you what the Chicago GM has done to the Bears? By trading up for a quarterback that probably isn't going to work out in the NFL? How about we look at notable players in the 2021 NFL draft class, and you tell me, Jeff, if you're happy with them. Okay? Trevor Lawrence? Feeling good about it?
Feeling good.
All right, so you're happy with their GM there, right?
Right.
You feeling good about the Zach Wilson pick? You can say just yes or no.
No.
Even if
I'm
you
not.
still have optimism for them, it doesn't matter. Yes or no right now. Are you happy with it?
No, I'm not.
Are you happy with Trey Lance?
No, not right now.
Are you happy with Pitts, Chase, and Waddle? I would say yes, right?
Yeah, those three are.
J.C.
solid.
Horn?
He's played well this year.
I would say yes.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Patrick Surtain? Yes.
Yes.
Devontae Smith? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields? No. Micah Parsons, Rashawn Slater? Yes. Elijah Vera Tucker? No. Zaven Collins? Alex Leatherwood? Meh. Jamin Davis? Kadarius Toney? Caleb Farley? Travis Etienne, injured last season, really unfortunate for him. Peyton Turner. The 2021 first round did have a ton of studs, by the way. I'm skipping a few guys. They're really good players. You have Najee Harris, Kwity Paye. You have, where is he? Rousseau, or Gregory Rousseau, excuse me,
he had 17
from Buffalo.
Sacks, man. 14 sacks.
That is, your GM is one of the GMs that did their job and gave you a really damn good first round pick. So there's not much for me to talk or complain about at the moment. There really isn't. It's really crazy to me. It really is. Let's take a quick pause. When we get back, Michigan football coming up in just a bit. Top of the hour, what to expect from the Lions on Sunday if Swift and St. Brown are a no-go. Should they play? Should they not play? All that and much more. But before we do, I got to tell you about our good friends over at Gypsy Vodka. The Mulligan is my go-to drink of NFL Sundays. I'll be drinking it tomorrow, too, on Thursday Night Football. 8% alcohol, iced tea, lemonade, and Gypsy Vodka mixed. Premium taste, smooth drink. Support local Michigan distilleries as always, and please drink responsibly.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries, what will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991? Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at Big Frog, because you can get a free Woodward Sports t-shirt. That's right, a free Woodward Sports t-shirt all month long at Big Frog in Novi. Just stop in and tell them we sent you, and they will print one out for you on the spot. So go to Big Frog in Novi today. Get your free t-shirt or visit them online at bigfrog.com/Novi.
All right, we're back here live on the Morning Woodward Show, 8:44 on a beautiful Wednesday. You know, I thought it was Tuesday, Jeff. I don't know what the hell happened to me.
Everything.
What does that mean?
I don't know. You should know what day it is.
Well, look, I slept late last night and I didn't get much sleep, so.
When did you go to bed?
When?
Yeah.
2:30.
Jeez.
Okay. Around me in Westfall.
Jeez.
Around there.
Yeah, Westfall, you have no excuse, by the way. I slept at 2:30. I was up at 5:30. By the way.
I said you could blame me too.
You can blame Fish all you want.
Yeah.
Fish is never the problem. I think we've all established that theory.
Oh, I was saying I could be the problem. I probably am. I just don't know it.
Would you like to defend yourself, Westfall?
You don't have to.
You don't have to, but I'm giving you the option.
I blame
What
it on
happened last
traffic.
night? Did you buy the wrong hooker?
No comment.
Jeez.
Fair enough.
I
All
felt
right.
Alex's pain. The traffic was bad, man.
We are joined by a very, very, very good friend of the show, Anthony Broome. Anthony, by the way, can we give a round of applause for Anthony?
Go Bulls!
Congratulations, Anthony, on not having the worst goddamn college football team in the state. Michigan State suck right now, so congratulations on the Michigan Wolverines.
Well, you made that bed for yourself, so
yeah.
I don't feel sorry.
Now he's got to sleep in it.
I know. Well, you know, at least I am humble enough to admit they suck. My God, imagine like having the worst secondary in college football last year and following it up with an even worse secondary. Makes no sense to me.
Hey,
but
Adam, Scott Hazelton said you just got to clean up some details. That's all. Yeah.
You know what Scott Hazel? You know what needs to happen to Scott Hazelton,
God,
Jeff?
I don't think we need to get into it right now.
If we were in the medieval times, I would hang him.
Oh my God. Okay, well
I would hang him publicly.
Yeah, that's
And I would have people throw eggs at him.
Why eggs?
I don't know.
Why not tomatoes?
Anyways, Anthony, good morning. Sorry. Look, Donavan Edwards, any update with him? Are we expecting him to be ready for this weekend's big matchup on the road against Iowa? Iowa, I believe, have won 5 of their last 6 home games against a top 5 rated team in the AP polls. Ooh, nervous.
Yeah, it is. Jim Harbaugh called it this week. He says, "What is it called? The place where top 5 teams go to die." Michigan was a team that was one of those teams back in 2016. So they are at least he's very familiar with what's on the line in an environment like that. As far as Edwards goes, they play coy like they do every week with injuries, but my gut says he's going to play this weekend. When you play an Iowa defense that is just so detail oriented, say what you will about them as a program, as a team, but that defense just finds a way to turn mistakes into points for them. In a lot of ways, maybe it's their best offense. So you're going to need those kind of matchup type of guys on the field. I think they will get Edwards back, which is huge because I think the chemistry that he and JJ McCarthy have together, at least in the passing game, is something that I don't know anyone else on the team has right now. So I think he'll play. I think he would have played last week if it was a mid-October game, but it's a marathon, not a race. They want to make sure he's good for the long run. So need him back. You don't want to give Blake Corum 30 carries every week. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe he's cut out for that, but you've got a weapon in Donovan Edwards that I think can be really dangerous, and I think will help them this weekend if he's on the field.
Anthony, give me your evaluation of JJ McCarthy. I know he looked at times, a little hectic. But overall, what was your evaluation of J.J. McCarthy facing Maryland? And then what are your expectations for him now going to Iowa and playing a really tough defense?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people, and this is, you watch the film, there were a lot of opportunities left on the field. A little loose with the football, missing on the deep balls. But you sit back and you look at it, and he wasn't going to complete 88.3% of his passes all season long. But he does have to tighten some things up with the football. I think he's still learning he doesn't have to do the hero ball thing. I think Michigan has an offensive line of playmakers and play calling and all these types of things in place that can kind of insulate him, where he just kind of has to do his job, and his talent will kind of naturally rise from that. But you sit back and look at it, and he didn't turn over the football. Again, a couple fumbles, didn't lose any, but he didn't have any turnovers on the day. He was 18 for 26, 220 yards. And again, I'm not disparaging his predecessor, but that's kind of a stat line that if it had been the other guy in at quarterback, people would go, all right, you know what, good job, clean day. You moved the offense. You found a way to get the job done. With McCarthy, it's this was really kind of his first start against a team that has a pulse, and and as when you look at this game film as a whole, it really is the first game this season where you can actually, as a Michigan coach, sit down, watch the film, and pull something out of it that needs to be emphasized or reined in or coached up moving forward. And McCarthy was. That was like a C+ performance out of him. I think we all expect more out of him. And I'm not concerned that that's what he is moving forward. I think he will get better the more game action that he plays. And even in moments where they needed a big throw or they needed a big play or a throw on the money down the sideline or a touchdown to Roman Wilson, he was still able to deliver that. So not super worried about that. It was just every team has a couple of these types of games that, even if you're good, Ohio State will have a couple games like this throughout the year against teams they should probably blow out. But credit to Maryland, too. I thought they did a really nice job just coming into the game, being prepared. That's a super undisciplined team historically, and they didn't, outside of muffing the opening kickoff, didn't really do anything to beat themselves. Yeah, they came to play, and Michigan, I think, I don't want to say was going through the motions, but I think they're still kind of figuring it out. So
fair enough.
Yeah, I think shaking the competitive rust off, so to speak, was good for them heading into a hostile environment this weekend.
The reality was, Anthony, it was his first career Big Ten start, And there are only 2 quarterbacks in the country with a higher passer rating than J.J. McCarthy. Max Duggan from TCU and C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State. So take it for what it is. The kid's 48 of 60 through 3 games. He's basically a more elite version of what Cade was. You look at the stat line, it's nothing impressive. It's 5 touchdowns through 3 games. The difference is really the amount of yards he throws down the field compared to Cade.
Average yards per attempt.
It's a 4.5 yard difference compared to last year. But there are no interceptions. Granted, you could argue there were a few plays that should have been turnovers. You know, he was super reckless with the football at times, and this unnecessary hero ball like you alluded to earlier. But overall, I think the risk is so worth it, and you're seeing it. And I think Maryland, God bless them, they have a chance to bounce back and go whoop Michigan State. They really do. They threw the ball pretty comfortably. Once Tagovailoa got hurt, Maryland really took a step back on offense, but I expect them to really have their way with Michigan State. That'll be another head scratcher for me to watch. But Anthony, moving forward with this football team, I do think it is different than last year. Do I think the defense is as good? The Maryland game will give me, some pauses, but I think the offense is so much better than last year. They just haven't found their rhythm yet. And when they do, Ronnie Bell, Andrel Anthony, Donavan Edwards, Blake Corum, Roman Wilson, I see maybe 2 offenses in the country that are slightly better. And that would be either Ohio State or Georgia at the moment. And I would put Michigan in that top 3. Is this the year they can legitimately compete in a college football playoff game if they get there?
Man, I mean, I just saw them kind of struggle in a game against Maryland, so I don't know that I'm ready to go there quite yet. I think the potential is there, though. I think that J.J. McCarthy, this is the fascinating story. This is by far the most interesting storyline of the week to me, is that, you just played a little bit of a sloppy football game. Again, the stat line doesn't really show that, but a bit of a sloppy performance against Maryland. And now you have to come out and you're going on the road as a starter for the first time against a team that, if you are not on the money with the things that you do, they will make you capitalize and they will turn it into points. And Iowa has this way of just dragging you down into a mud fight, a bar fight, whatever you want to call it. J.J. McCarthy in that Michigan offense, it's gotta be cleaner this week. And I think across the board, I mean, the play calling, I thought at times, I don't think it was. I won't go as far as Joel Klatt and say that I think that the dynamic doesn't work and they need to find a guy. I'm not going to go that far. I just think they kind of lost their way a bit in the game, which happens in football games sometimes. Listen, I mean, last year in a similar situation, coming out of non-conference play, you weren't. I mean, they had beaten Washington, but you still weren't really sure how good Michigan was. They come out in week 4, they struggle against Rutgers, they barely get out of that game. And then in week 5, you go on the road, play a Big Ten West team in Wisconsin, which always historically a tough place to go play, and you beat the hell out of them in their building. Now, I'm not exactly holding Michigan to that same standard. I won't sit here and say, oh, you need to blow out Iowa or else you're not for real. I think just go to Iowa and get the win first and foremost. But could I see a scenario where they go there, put it all together, and then this is kind of our first glimpse at what this team can be? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. I think last week was a little bit of a wake-up call. I think things have come, it's not often you see things just come so easily for a football team the first month of the year. I think you do need to, if last week was a game where your character was tested, I think this week has the chance to be the game where we find out what you really are or what you are made of moving forward. And that's the most exciting thing for me. I mean, it might not look like this one might not look as pretty. Do I see a 38-10 win? My gut says no. This one screams like 24-13 or something in that area. Whatever it is, I would bet the under is what I would do. But we're gonna find out what this team is really made of really next week and through the month of October. Because you're going to play Iowa on the road. Indiana, I know Indiana's not very good, but that's always a tough physical game that can get weird for Michigan. You'll host Penn State the next week. Then you'll have a bye week and close things out against Michigan State. So last year, it seemed like that November stretch or that Halloween to Thanksgiving stretch was kind of where you found out what Michigan really was. This year, I think, get through October undefeated. That's the goal, and then set yourself up for in November where you're going to go to Rutgers, you'll play Nebraska, you'll play Illinois, and then you go to Ohio State. So I think this week is going to tell us a lot more about this team than last week did.
And Anthony, obviously last year with what Aiden and David Ajabo did, it's going to be hard to replace those guys. And you're seeing now, we talked with you a couple weeks ago just about this defensive, and especially this defensive line, the pass rush. It's going to be more of a get to the quarterback by group effort. You got 3 sacks against Maryland. What are your thoughts on this defensive line going forward, especially getting into now better competition? You got Iowa and you have Penn State in about a month, and then you have Ohio State at the end of the year in Columbus. What's been your evaluation on this defensive line so far, and maybe the ceiling of this defense? Because so far, overall, they've looked good against the teams they've played, but they struggle against Maryland. What are your expectations for them going forward?
That defensive front and the pass rush to me right now is really the only true thing to me that registers as something that might be a question mark moving forward. In the vacuum of last week's game, I think a lot of things I can sort of write off. We always knew that they weren't going to have Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo 2.0 walk through the door, but I did think they would find a way to get a little more consistent pressure, and it hasn't been there quite yet. And then that's maybe why you dip into the transfer portal late in camp and go bring in Iyabi Okoye. That's a guy I think is going to play a lot more in the coming weeks. He's still learning to get the playbook down. A true freshman in Derek Moore, I think, also should play more. A guy that, they need to start paring this down a little bit and finding out who their guys actually are. I think Jalen Harrell's been pretty good, but again, kind of a no-show last week. It needs to be a little more consistent. I think I'm a little more worried about how they hold up against the run. I think Maryland probably could have run the ball on them a little bit more if they wanted to. And obviously you're playing a game this weekend where you're going to see a physical Iowa offensive line and a downhill run game that wants to punch you in the mouth. And those guys need to be better there. So defensive line-wise, pass rush-wise, right now, that's, to me, by far the biggest quote-unquote concern that I have about this team. So that needs to get better again. It's going to be another game where you're going to find out just how much better they can get from last week. But moving forward, defensively, I think their secondary has been outstanding. I have no questions about that. Linebacker play has been really good. It's that pass rush. It's how you hold up against the run. Those are things that I really kind of have some big questions right now. So I'd like to see how that improves moving forward.
All right. Well, Anthony, I can't thank you enough for joining us this morning on short notice. So I appreciate it as always. You guys can catch Anthony at thewolverine.com and, of course, follow him on Twitter. Anthony Broome on Twitter. It's a great follow. Some of the best articles I read on a daily basis. So, Anthony, I can't thank you enough. Appreciate you coming on the show. Good luck this weekend. Good luck. It's going to be a test. It's definitely going to be a test. I think narrative-wise, I'd buy in more on Monday morning. I'd come in here and have to talk about Michigan putting up 40 or 50. I think they get it together on Saturday, but can't wait to watch.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a long drive there and back, so it'll be a lot easier. It'd be a lot more of a palatable drive if we're talking about a Michigan win. So.
Well, look, if somehow they lose, you can always just FaceTime me on the way home because I know Michigan State's probably going to lose, so we'll deal with that together. Top of the hour coming up in just a bit. When we get back, what to expect from the Detroit Lions if St. Brown and DeAndre Swift are unavailable. That and much more coming up in the second hour of the show. But before we do, Jeff, the Sports Marketing Agency. The
Sports Marketing Agency allows people to understand that it's okay to not be okay, and they help spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast called This is the S Word, S standing for stigma, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, tell them or yourself to head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. Baby, talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Jeff Iafrate here with Fulling Warehouse. If you want to be like J.J. McCarthy and you want to sling the ball, go to Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck because it's the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play, $12 unlimited open play, or the $120 lane reservation where you can bring 10 people, up to 10 people. $2 mystery beer machine, full bar. Check it all out. FullingWarehouse.com for more information.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show, top of the hour. Jeff Iafrate, Adham, Beydoun, and then there's Fish, just sitting there doing nothing. God bless Fish. How you doing this morning?
What do you mean doing? I'm doing great.
Yeah?
Yeah. Got a lot of good
plans
stuff
for
on
the weekend?
Do I have plans for the weekend? Not at the moment. I'm sure they'll pop up as the week goes on. Well, I mean, I'm watching football. How do you not?
Which football?
Well, I watch Michigan, Iowa.
Okay, good. So you're actually watching real football.
I will watch real football.
Thank God.
I'm getting up on Sunday. I think I'm gonna get up at 3:50 on Sunday. I gotta figure out Sunday. So.
What's Sunday?
There's a big final happening in Australia Sunday morning at 4:30. So I'll probably get up at 3:20.
Jesus.
Are you gonna wake up, have a coffee and breakfast? What's the deal?
Well, all right. So I'm gonna sleep probably at 9 o'clock on Saturday night, 9 or 10.
Saturday night, you're gonna sleep by 9 or 10 p.m.
PM, yep. Because I'm gonna get up at like 11:50ish. I'm gonna do my normal Sunday, but it's a shortened Sunday. So I'll go to bed at like 2 a.m. I'll probably watch the college football games till like 2, and then I'll get up at 3:20. So
then you'll take a power nap for an hour and then get back up.
Yeah, I gotta maybe fix some things, but that's the gist of it.
I think it's hilarious.
That's what I'm thinking going into Sunday.
I think it's hilarious that me and you, Fish, have drastically different things we do at 10 o'clock on a Saturday. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Insane to me. Insane. Having said that, Jeff, what can Detroit Lions fans expect from the offense if DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown are unavailable against Seattle at home on Sunday?
Well, you missed that big playability. That's what DeAndre Swift brings. I mean, he's a home run hitter, and you can see it with Jamal Williams. Jamal isn't no slouch, but he isn't DeAndre Swift. What he can do in the passing game. The biggest thing for me, and I'm just disappointed, not disappointed in DeAndre, but I'm disappointed that he's hurt. Like, this has been a reoccurring thing with DeAndre Swift, and we were really excited for this season. Not just us, but Deuce Staley spoke highly about how he wants to push DeAndre, and he's been doing it. I mean, you see it week 1, over 150 yards, fouls it up, limited against the Commanders, but they still find a way to win. Had that big, 40-yard run, and then now against the Vikings, he was just getting less and less, playing less and less. And then the Vikings, he obviously injures his shoulder. Already dealing with that ankle injury. It's never good news, man, when anybody gets injured, but specifically DeAndre, man. This has been a lingering thing with DeAndre. And I think it's tough for most Lions fans to process it, because if you look at DeAndre coming out, or if you at least reflect back to when DeAndre came out of college, what was the number one thing people were saying, at least scouts? Out of all the running backs available, DeAndre has the less workload, especially at a collegiate level. He only played his last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, compared to Jonathan Taylor, who played every single season and had a lot of carries. So in terms of the amount of carries they had coming out of college, DeAndre had the least. So you think he'd be the most durable. But it's been the opposite. And I think that's where probably the frustration comes in, because this offense is as good as it is. DeAndre is really what makes this thing. It takes this offense to a whole nother level. And don't even get me started with Amon-Ra St. Brown, because that's another piece of this offense. I mean, he's our number one wide receiver. So for me, Adam, DeAndre Swift, the news, it's never a good thing. For me personally, now looking back, should he have even played against the Vikings? Because in 7 carries, he had 30 yards. Like, I just would rather, in that instance, not give him the 7 carries. I'd rather rest him that week.
I don't know what to think anymore, because he may sit the next 2 games, then have the bye week, and then return. And at this point, I think it's a lost cause, man. It's just trending into a direction where you're eventually going to have to part ways with him. He can't stay healthy, and there's nothing you, me, or anybody can do about it.
Right.
So I'm not sure what the deal is there. St. Brown, if he misses this week, That's going to be a tough game against Seattle because I think moving the ball, like you saw, once St. Brown twisted his ankle,
struggled.
Your offense completely changed throwing the football. Look, we like Chark. We like Reynolds. They are not the 1 and 2s. St. Brown for you on any given play, along with Swift, is the 1 and 2. That's the combination. And if you are to miss both against Seattle, it'll take a heroic coaching and defensive effort to win that football game. You're going to see a game plan similar to what you saw against Pittsburgh last year. Run the football. Craig Reynolds, Jamal Williams, run the rock. That's all you're going to do. And then you're going to try to set up Goff on play action and take your shots when you can. And that's going to be a difficult game to really play without one or both. And I would say without Swift, you lose all home run hitting ability in the backfield, obviously in the run game. And without St. Brown, I'm not sure how you throw the football effectively at the level you have thrown so far, that being Jared Goff, through the first 3 games. I'm not sure how you move the ball outside of turning around and hoping the offensive line continues to do what it's doing and hand it off to Reynolds, hand it off to Williams. It is concerning.
And I think that's one thing, I'm glad you brought that up too, because with Amon-Ra St. Brown, their ability to move the football, that's what I'm concerned about, because you're asking now, DJ Chark, TJ Hawkinson, those guys to step up, and they just haven't done that so far. So you're counting on those guys against Seattle at home. And I think DJ Chark, he still can be utilized. He was utilized very early in that Vikings game. He had 2 catches for 40 yards, and he kind of just fell off after that. But TJ is the one I'm really looking for. I mean, he has to step up, especially against this linebacker core for Seattle, who's got some talent. They don't have Bobby Wagner. They don't have Jamal Adams anymore. He's out for the foreseeable future. So a lot of guys got to step up at him. But I'm with you. I think for Swift, the problem I have with this offense without Swift is for defenses to come in and actually bite on a play action. You have to believe that the running back is that much of a threat. And Jamal is a threat, but DeAndre is what makes them bite. I mean, that's the guy that you have to pay attention to. And if he's not playing, it's going to hurt this offense. It's going to hurt Goff. It's going to hurt everything. But this offensive line, you've seen what they can do with other running backs. They can produce 100-yard backs like it's nobody's business. And they did it last year. They had Craig Reynolds. He got over 100 yards when he played last season. But DeAndre is that home run hitter.
There's a difference in how we achieve those 100 yards, though, right?
Absolutely.
With Swift, he could do it in
a couple
5
plays.
carries.
Yeah, he could do it in a couple
With
plays.
Jamal and Reynolds, it'll take a minimum of 15, 17, 19, 20, 22 carries. And that is a huge commitment to make on offense, especially if the run game is not working. The game becomes very tricky without Swift, almost impossible to me without Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm not sure how you compensate for not having your 2 best players on offense. The St. Brown injury, should he rest? Should he take the week against Seattle, come back for Foxborough, and then go into the bye week and recover then? Or do you sit him, like we're reportedly hearing, with Swift the next 2 games?
For me, looking at what Amon-Ra's done, he has never missed a game. So in that instance, I would, if he's ready to go, I'm letting him go. Like, it's different between DeAndre telling you I can play and, him telling you he could play. Like, Amon-Ra's been consistent, and he even, I know he wasn't as effective after that ankle injury, but now you have a week to rest that ankle. You play at home. You're going to have the adrenaline going. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if he played. But overall, I mean, if you don't have DeAndre Swift or Amon-Ra St. Brown in this game, I mean, that's an issue. I mean, that's a problem. And I do see this Seattle game, which we will get into later in the week, as a very important game. Because you can't drop that game. You have 3 out of the first 4 games at home, and you're telling me you'd lose a potential 2 out of the 3. Like, that's the problem I have. But overall, Adam, if he doesn't play, I'm fine with it. I think it's probably better to keep him healthy. But DeAndre should not. I mean, that man needs to take at least probably the 2 weeks for DeAndre. But Amon-Ra's been mostly, I guess you could say, a juggernaut. He's played through injury, so yeah, I think it's different for him than DeAndre.
And they did say it looks promising early on from St. Brown's injury, so we're not too concerned there. But it is a daunting feat to try and go win any football game without your 2 best players, I could say, on the entire football team, outside of Penei Sewell. Your 2 most explosive, dynamic offensive weapons unavailable. not healthy. That is a problem for Seattle. And let's talk about Seattle. What problems do Seattle pose to the Lions? Well, in the ground game, Seattle is one of the worst teams in stopping the run. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have a really wide receiver tandem that is a problem.
Right.
And you are going to have to make a decision. And who's going to beat you? Bend, don't break, not get beat downfield by DK or Tyler Lockett. It is an interesting game on Sunday, and that's why I mentioned it will take a defensive effort. Because I think you'll be able to run the ball effectively.
Mm-hmm.
But can you move the ball on third down? Can you move it on 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8? Can you move the football? That's the key to the game just from now. Now, St. Brown comes back, we can have a different conversation. But as of right now, I would say no Swift for sure.
Yeah. He shouldn't play.
And then Amon-Ra, if he's a go, how healthy? What can I get out of him?
Right. And I think if you're looking at John Brown, his father, John Brown would tell him to go drink some spit and get in that game. So, for Amon-Ra, I'm not too concerned, but you're right, Adam. I mean, for Seattle, too, the thing I'm most interested to see, and it's a little off topic, but I want to bring it up, is that offensive line. You mentioned it. They're struggling to run the ball. I'm curious to see what this defensive line does, because at home, this defense does have to step up with the absence of now Amon-Ra and Swift. Like, they really do. I mean, you're giving up the most points in football, and 3 out of the first 4 games, like I said, are at home. So it's not like you can really, confidently say, well, at home, this defense should be able to step up. They just haven't done that. But they are first facing the worst team they've played, so they have a chance to do that. We'll see. But it's a big deal. You might not have Amon-Ra and Swift. I mean, that's huge.
Fair enough. Well, when we get back, contenders or pretenders, we'll go around the NFL and see which teams are legit or it's all smoke. 9:30. We got to talk about Dan Campbell. Are we overreacting to 3 games into the new NFL season? That and much more coming up in a bit. But before we do, I got to tell you about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10-8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. No appointment necessary. Their awesome stylists will take care of you like they take care of me. I need to get my beard trimmed. I definitely need to get a haircut. My goodness, I look like a freaking gorilla. What is it? What is
Grizzly bear.
Precision haircuts, hot leather neck shaves. Their stylists are the best in the business. Get to Lady Jane's. Like I said, open 7 days a week. No appointment necessary. Lady Jane's. It's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Looking to buy or sell your home, whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy, sell, or invest is Michael Phillips' top priority. Being in the game for over 23 years makes Michael the #1 option for anyone. If you have real estate needs, call Michael Phillips at 313-403-0011. That's 313-403-0011. And we are back, 9:14. Contenders or pretenders? Jeff Iafrate, let's get it started. Is this team a contender or a pretender? Let's start in the NFC. A team that is in a wild card spot right now at the moment. 2-1, are 2-0 with their backup quarterback. Are Dallas legitimate contenders this year?
I'm going to say in an NFC that is very weak. I can see them when Dak gets back being a playoff contender. But could they lose the very first playoff game? Probably. But I could see them making the playoffs. They just have so much talent on that defensive line. And I think they're really going to miss Amari Cooper. I can't believe I'm saying that, by the way, because of you have a number one receiver. CeeDee Lamb hasn't shown that, but he showed it against the Giants. So if that offense can continue to play well and Dak comes back, I think they can definitely make the playoffs. Will they go farther than the first game? Probably not.
I'm going to go pretenders on Dallas, although I agree that defensive front is legit. Minnesota, contenders or pretenders?
I would say contenders as well. I mean, that's a team built to at least go to the postseason. Now, how far they get in the postseason, that's another conversation. But with Kirk, the offense, what they've done on the defense too, Jordan Hicks, Zadarius Smith, Hunter, they got talent. So I'm going to say contender for the Minnesota Vikings.
I would agree with everything you just said. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, contenders or pretenders?
I'm going to say contenders. They have to get guys back. That's the most important thing. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Julio Jones. That defense is terrifying. I mean, it really is. I think that defense is probably, you can argue, the best defense in the NFL right now. And what they did to Aaron Rodgers, that offense just couldn't get going. So I'm going to go with, contenders. A lot of that rides on how Tom holds up at the end of the season. No offensive line does worry me. But I'm going to go contender for them.
I'm going to label Tampa as pretenders.
Okay.
I'm not sold on the offense, even with Mike Evans back. Chris Godwin, I need to know more about his injury, when he'll be back, if he'll be back 100%. Tampa, though, they do have Brady. And it's hard to call them a pretender when you have that kind of a defense and Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I think there are 3 clear contenders in the NFC, and they're in the exact order. Philly, Los Angeles, and Minnesota.
Could I say, if you're going to say pretender or contender, for example, like with Tampa, there's more tangible evidence there. I can say they're contenders.
Absolutely,
but with Minnesota,
there is no evidence.
Right.
Absolutely, that is fair to say. And you could say the same with Green Bay.
Right.
Right? Let's go to the AFC. Cincinnati Bengals. Or should we say to be determined, because they have a big game.
They do.
Tomorrow night. Thursday Night Football, Miami and Cincinnati.
They could fall to 1-3, but
or 2-2 and beat the best team arguably in the NFL.
That's
see how quickly things can change in the NFL.
That's the ups and downs. But I'm going to go with contender. I mean, I'm still high on the Bengals. I think the biggest thing for me early on is protecting Joe Burrow, and they've seemed to be able to do that just last game. Now, can they build upon that and go into Miami and at least protect him once again? Because if they protect Joe Burrow, I mean, this offense is still clicking. Got to get Joe Mixon going. But overall, I'm going to say contender for Cincinnati Bengals.
Fair enough. The Miami Dolphins contenders, who they're playing, by the way, or pretenders?
Oh, I'm going contender.
Under Mike McDaniels, first-year head coach.
Contender. And this kind of goes back to the Minnesota thing. Both rookie head coaches, first-year head coaches. But with what Miami has, there's a lot more pieces in place defensively that have been there, even with Brian Flores. They have a great defense. I mean, one of the best defenses. And on top of that, you have an offense who, with Tua, say what you want about Tua, man wins we could say all we want about Tua and how we don't believe he's in the echelon of Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, all these guys. He's still winning games out in Miami, and I think he's going to win enough to at least make the playoffs. Right now, in his division, I could see Miami and Buffalo both coming out of that division. So I'm going to go with Miami. I think they're contenders. They make the postseason.
I think Miami's contenders, not so much only with the explosiveness they have on offense. That defense is legit. Let's remember, this is the same Brian Flores defense, essentially, from last season. Xavier Howard at the corner position. They have players that can get to the quarterback. I like Miami a lot. The Kansas City Chiefs, I think we would both agree, contenders. You still have Andy Reid, you still have Patrick Mahomes, a defense that I think will get better as the season goes on. Juju Smith-Schuster will get better as the season goes on. Travis Kelce, the best tight end in football. They're still contenders, but I'm not as high on them as you may have been the last 4 years, where they've been in the AFC title game every single year.
And that has to do a lot with Tyreek Hill. So we'll see how that gets situated. Your best receiver right now is Juju Smith-Schuster.
All right,
so
contenders
we're gonna have some issues.
Or pretenders. The Denver Broncos.
Ooh, they have not shown me they're contenders. I mean, they're 2-1. I really do like Denver, but they have to get this offense figured out. And I know you have Nathaniel Hackett coming from Green Bay, and you saw what Aaron Rodgers was able to do that first season, 20-something touchdowns. He jumped to 40-something touchdowns. Russell Wilson's, I don't know if it's the offense. I don't know if it's Nathaniel Hackett. Whatever it is, offensively, they're struggling. But defensively, though, the Broncos got it. I mean, they have a contending defense. Offense is where I have to see them figure it out.
You went exactly where I was going. I'm going to label them contenders.
Because of that defense.
They're 2-1 with that defense and no offense. Non-existent.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson does not look good. The backfield, inconsistent. The offensive line, inconsistent. The receivers, inconsistent. All that, and they still have a winning record so far to start the year. They haven't played a divisional game yet. I think that defense travels. The defense will be a factor for them. I think they're still a playoff team. Whether or not they're an AFC contender at the top echelon, like the Bills,
They'll still get
like
in
the
there.
Dolphins, maybe not, no. But they're definitely in the conversation at least.
And they're 2 fumbles, or at least you can argue 1 fumble away from beating Seattle. They've fumbled twice at the goal line, so they could be 3-0 for all we know. So
all right,
I'm gonna lean contender for Denver. I'm
cool
with you.
that. Coming off a big Thursday night win, contenders or pretenders, the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski 2-1 with Jacoby Brissett. Shut up, fish. With Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback.
Man, the Browns, for everything I want to say right now about the Browns, they're winning. They're 2-1 in a division and coaching matters. We talk about that. Kevin Stefanski, for what happened against the Jets, they could be 3-0 right now. Should be. But that ending, they completely, melted down. But I'm going to still lean contender, because I think eventually when Deshaun Watson gets back, this team will be poised to at least be in the playoff conversation, and maybe Deshaun could take them to the playoffs. I don't think they're going to have a deep playoff run, but definitely to make the playoffs, I'm going to go with contender. Myles Garrett's got to get healthy. He just got in a car accident yesterday or the other day.
Given they're in a division where you question Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, there's something there. The coaching is compensating for a lot. The defense is compensating a lot. But they do have an insane tandem in the backfield, arguably the best, actually, in the NFL, with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Pretenders or contenders? Jeff, is my favorite team in the AFC right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I want to say contender, but I just don't. I've seen teams, start 3-1 and they end the season, not the same record they started. And I think Jacksonville has it. I just don't know. I have to see They have a big game this weekend as well. So I'm curious to see Jacksonville coming up against Philly. That's going to be a big game for them. And maybe after that game, I'd have a decision for you or an answer for you. But right now, I'm probably going to stay on the pretender side until they show me more.
I'm going to agree, although I am in love with them.
Yeah, they look
at the moment. I still don't think they're ready to contend. I don't think they're ready to beat Buffalo on the road, beat Kansas City on the road, beat some of these better teams, Miami even, on the road. They got a lot to prove. I love Jacksonville. They were my preseason pick to really surprise everyone this year.
You said they'd win the division.
I love Jacksonville, but not contenders yet.
Yeah.
I don't think the receivers are good enough. I don't think the defense has enough yet, although the defensive front looks good. Devin Lloyd looks good. Trayvon Walker, good so far. Josh Allen on the edge. I like some pieces. You still need a little bit more. This is a team that next year we could legitimately see make a run in the divisional or the championship round in the AFC. All depending, of course, along with Trevor Lawrence's growth. He becomes elite.
Then this team's dangerous.
Anywhere,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
All right, 2 teams in the AFC left I want to address. We both know the Bills are, so we're not going to have that conversation. But are Baltimore legit, given the pace and the efficiency that Lamar is playing at, and they are a 2-1 football team?
I don't think so. And the reason why I say that has nothing to do with Lamar. It does, but it's not about his play. It's about how much of a role he has for them to win. Like, their offense is Lamar, Mark Andrews, period. Like that's their entire offense, and that worries me, because with Lamar to be the leading the team in attempts with rushing, trying to do everything for your team, it worries me about his health. I want him to stay healthy. I want him to get that bag from Baltimore. I just don't know how long this kid go for with this offense completely relying on Lamar Jackson. It does concern me. But right now they look good. But overall, Adam, I think eventually as the season goes on, they're going to slow down a little bit. They just don't have the playmakers. I mean, Rashad Bateman and Devin Duvernay, they got to prove more to me before. I really wish Baltimore would have pursued a receiver in the offseason or in the draft to get somebody more established. But right now, Adam, it's too Lamar-centric, and it concerns me. So I'm going to say pretender, but I think they'll still be a pretty good football team.
Fair enough. I do agree that wide receiver position, for me, is the second largest concern on that team outside of the secondary.
Yeah.
That secondary is struggling. I'm not a fan of it right now. I do think they can correct it. I still like Baltimore as a contender in the AFC. The final team, a team that has struggled, 1-1-1, but are coming off a big win against the Chiefs. Are the Colts legitimate under Matt Ryan and Frank Reich?
That's a tough one. I mean, the Colts last year, it was a mistake to me for trading Carson Wentz because you see what Matt Ryan is right now, and they're struggling all over. I know they're missing pieces. Shaq Leonard hasn't been playing. But overall, I'm probably going to go pretender. I just don't think they could catch up. I mean, right now, they beat the Chiefs, but the Chiefs really technically should have won that game. They had a drop touchdown pass to Travis Kelce, which would have thrown that thing in another direction. So I'm going to go with Colts no. They're pretenders to me. They haven't shown me yet. Jonathan Taylor hasn't been playing well. So until they show me otherwise, Adam, they're pretenders.
Yeah, I'm not bought into the Colts. I think this is Frank Reich's last season. I'll continue to say it. I don't buy in to what is there, although there are so many good pieces. I don't like the quarterback. I don't like the head coach. I don't like the offense. I like Pittman. I like Taylor. I like Quentin Nelson. I don't like how they operate. But they found a way to beat Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
I still think they're pretenders. But boy, you win games like that, you got to make people think every once in a while. We will take a quick pause. When we get back, Jeff, we got to talk about Jaden Ivey. Actually, no, we don't. I lied. I skipped one.
We got to get into Dan Campbell.
We got to get into Dan Campbell. Then we'll get to Jaden Ivey at 9:40. All that and much more in just a bit. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends at Citron.
Guys, Citron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings, and the Red Wings season is upon us. So go to Citron and check out all three of their delicious flavors, which they combined into a limited 6-pack sampler box. If you're watching on WoodwardSports.com, you could see the box with cranberry, original, and sugar-free. You can pre-order your Citron 6-pack sampler box today at CitronWorld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Citron.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader Bet Tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Jeff Iafrate here. I'm going to tell you about Chili Peppers Tanning because, guys, you can join the Pepper Club at Chili Peppers Tanning. You'll get all the best deals, plus they will beat all competitors by $5. Chili Peppers has the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, and the darkest tans. 26 locations and more on the way.
Chili Peppers Tan?
Fish, you've been very subtle about screaming Chili Peppers Tan. What's been going on, buddy?
Have I ever screamed it before?
Yeah, typically you squeak very loudly.
Chili Peppers Tan?
There you go.
There?
A little better, a little higher pitch, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll
okay,
talk
why do you want a high pitch? Was that high pitch before?
It's people enjoy it.
Maybe I'm finally hitting puberty. I don't know.
Fair enough. Look, Jeff, 3 games in. You've heard everything I've had to say. I've heard everything you've had to say.
Mm-hmm.
We're 3 games in to this individual's second season as the head coach for the Detroit Lions. Are we overreacting to the decisions against Philly and the decisions that were made against Minnesota?
Overreacting partially. I think maybe we do overreact because we want Dan to succeed, so we hold him accountable, as we should. But we also have to understand that we like to bring up Jim Schwartz. I mean, that's the guy we always look to in terms of his progression, not the coach, following those years, but the first 3 years, going from 2 wins to 6 wins to 10 wins. And the second season, he went 6-10, and that's kind of where we see the Lions at right now. The Detroit Lions in that season, that would be the 2010 season with Jim Schwartz. They didn't have Matthew Stafford play, really at all. They had Javid Best, obviously, as you guys know, a really good pass rush, and Sue, Cliff Averill, Lawrence Jackson. But if you look at their first 6 games, it's just funny to think about, they were 1-5. And they found a way to win at the end of the season. They strung off 4 straight. They snuck another win in there. They ended 6-10. So it's rough in the beginning. You want them to be in the conversation, no doubt about it. I think this team has enough talent to be, and it has more talent than this team did with 6 wins that Jim Schwartz got them to. But what I will say is it's the decisions late in games, because we had this conversation too. It's not sitting up here and criticizing Dan Campbell. It's the reality of every weekend you watch NFL, you watch these games. A lot of games come down to what? 1, 2, or possibly 3 plays at the end of a game. Dan Campbell, through 2 seasons, there's been a handful of times where we question his decision-making, and he even comes to the podium and admits he made the wrong decision. That's the concern I have. It's not about Dan. It's not about the person he is, his ability to coach. It's about those critical decisions he has to make at the end of a game, and I haven't seen that yet. He hasn't won on the road yet, and a lot of that winning on the road has to do with what? Those critical 3 to 4, either it's plays, decisions, whatever it is. You got to be able to be the better coach. You got to be able to outcoach the opposing coach. And I think Dan Campbell, I'm not going to overreact. It's only been a handful of games, but you are 1-2 in a division where the Bears, I get it's different schedules, but the Bears are bad, and they're 2-1. So you got to look at what's around too. For me, I'm not going to, sit up here and clamor for Dan's job. But what I will say is, we're going to be sitting up here week to week, and we're going to be telling you guys what we saw. And some of those things, like last week, are the decisions at the end of a game that we don't agree with. And that's right. That's not a bad thing to do, to criticize Dan for what he did. But can we, fire him over it? No. That's the thing. That's what separates.
But are we calling for his head?
No, we're not.
So then what's the conversation? Hey, man, you made these mistakes, man. Last year, man. And it was your first year, man. So we gave you a break and said, you know what, the roster was talentless, man. Man. And now we're 3 games in, and instead of us having a conversation about your football team potentially being 4-1 going into the bye week, after an impressive first road victory under your belt at Minnesota, St. Brown injured, Swift injured, concerns with health around the team.
Right.
Tracy Walker out for the season. You just blew a game in Minnesota. You may not have your 2 best offensive players for the Seattle game. And now the legitimate conversation we need to have is, are we prepared for 1-4 or 2-3 heading into the bye? Right. Both equally likely scenarios. Is that fair to say?
It's fair. And I want to bring this up, too, about my Jim Schwartz point. Defensively, they were much more talented than the Lions are right now. Offensively, this Lions team is better than that Schwartz team.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
It's the same team, just on opposite sides of the field.
Right. That's the point I was making. They had
one
a
has
D-line.
a starting quarterback, the other didn't. One has a very good defense, the other doesn't.
Exactly. So go on. Continue your point.
And where I'm getting at is, excuse me, do you want me to come in on Monday after he and his coaching staff botches a game and say, it's okay. It's okay, you were in a position to win. Or that, hey, you know what? It's okay. It's a road game that we expected to lose. Is that what you want me to say? Absolutely not. You are now well into your 2nd season. And to be making the same old mistakes from last season, to me, is unacceptable. Again, you're going to lose football games this year. You're going to lose games you think you should win. You're going to lose games you're going to win games you thought you should lose.
Right.
That's the NFL. But it is these one possession, close games that you continuously fail to win. And I don't want to hear that you don't have enough to win these games. I was told you couldn't come out and match Philly, and that their defensive front would absolutely maul Jared Goff, and the secondary would shut them down. The opposite happened. I was told that Washington, after beating Jacksonville week 1, it's not fair to expect them to win. They did. It's not fair to expect them to go on the road against Minnesota and compete.
They were in control.
You were the better football team in Minnesota. But why do you lose? Why? And that story is very frustrating. Because I would love nothing. Guys, you don't think Monday morning I didn't want to come in here with Jeff and us have a conversation about your football team being 2-1, coming off an impressive road victory against a team I think is the best team in the NFC North? You don't think that was impressive? Controlling the game the way you did? Woodward came into the studio 2-1. Seattle upcoming. interesting matchup. The injuries are going to make it difficult, but you can walk away 3-2 into the bye, and you still have that opportunity now. You do. Mac Jones injured now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we got to stop giving up these games. You have to stop losing these close games. You have to stop folding under pressure in the late game one-possession scenarios. A kicker who was 2-5 going into that game from 50-plus yards for his career, who had never hit a 50-yarder in his career for the Detroit Lions. That is who you trusted to only keep it at a one-possession game. And then when the chips were on the table and you're Mr. Macho Man, I'm going to be aggressive, Venti, we're going to be aggressive. You were 4 for 6 all game on 4th down. You chose the field goal over going for it or punting? When am I going to see consistency out of you? Again, you have the right to make mistakes. You have the right to lose football games. That's the NFL. I think you're a 7-10 football team. No, I'm not going to call for his head at the moment. But if you would have just lost football games the way most teams do, instead of the way you are currently, I don't think we're having this conversation. I think we're saying, all right, they're where we expected them to be. Figured they'd lose to Philly. Good win against Washington. Tough loss against Minnesota, but hey, you know what? They went on the road. They competed. I like what I'm taking away. There are a lot of positives with this team. Jeff Okudah now emerging. Penei Sewell, the best right tackle in the league. Positives. Lots of positives here. But how many times are you allowed to make the same mistake before I get to question you? Again, I'm not saying he needs to be fired. Absolutely not. We're only 3 games into his second year.
Right.
But how many more times until it registers in your brains that this guy continues to make the wrong decisions when it matters most? And there is no hindsight needed. You all watched the same game I watched and he watched. We all watched the same game. Don't tell me they didn't have that game. Don't tell me they should not have won. Don't tell me they were not the better team in Minnesota. I don't care that Tracy Walker got hurt. They were doing just fine. Timeout, for some reason, when you call a timeout, you come out and you're not prepared, or you always get beat deep. It is a common theme last year. It is a common theme this year.
That has to do with Aaron Glenn, too. I mean, he deserves some of that blame. Timeout, you get the timeout.
You are not getting your message across as a head coach, as a defensive coordinator at the moment.
Right.
And that is concerning. No, you don't kick him out of town at the moment. We're not doing that.
No.
But when are you going to mature and take that next step and stop losing football games you have every right to win? And I'm not saying you got to win 100% of them. You are going to drop a few games. You are going to lose a game that you had control of. Or you are going to slip late. Or you're going to have an opportunity to win, but you don't execute. Fine. Just don't shoot yourself in the foot. Or make us come in on Monday after a very good performance for 4 quarters and talk about you making a decision that cost your football team, that we all know cost your football team. Well, how about the defense makes a stop, Adham? You know, I would love to sit here and say that. How about your coach gives the defense a better opportunity, a higher percentage opportunity of succeeding than giving Minnesota the ball almost at midfield? How about that? How about going for it and not even giving them the ball? Or how about at least going for it, trying to win the game, which I could respect, and not converting it? Minnesota goes down and scores. You say, you know what? They tried to kill the game. I can at least have respect for it.
Right.
They did not execute. Excuse me, they did not execute. I'll live with it.
Adam, at least
stop losing these ways.
But Adam, you'd be, in that instance, if you didn't get it, you'd be putting your best unit in charge of the fate of the game,
which is the offense. I don't mind if he goes for it on 4th and 4. I swear to God, guys, I'm not talking out of hindsight. Please hear me out. If he goes for it on 4th and 4 and they fail and they miss and the same thing happens on defense and Minnesota goes down and scores, I get to come in on Monday and say, all right, 1, they controlled the game. They let it go in the 4th. The offense wasn't good enough. Number 2, when the game mattered the most, he put the best unit on the field. And the team didn't execute. I can live with it. I can't live with the 50-yard field goal for a guy who's never hitting it in his Detroit Lions
That would have been
career.
a career high. Yeah,
Come on.
if you hit that.
Who missed from 47 earlier?
And Greg Joseph, every kick was going far right. I mean, it was just the theme of the game. So Listen, overall, I'm not going to sit here and clamor for Dan's job. I think he has. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. But overall, it's the context of these games. I mean, that's the problem I have, is you're going to have a lot of these close games. But what do you do at the end of these close games? That's the most important thing to me. And it's not just Dan. It's his assistants as well. It's everybody. But overall, they got to be better. And Dan knows that as well as anybody. I mean, he's hard on himself as it is. Said he didn't sleep after the game. So for Dan's sake, just got to be better. And you got to be more decisive. And Jared Goff even said it. And I love that Jared said this. He's like, people keep saying this. We're close. He's like, no, we're there. We're there. We just got to make a couple extra plays. And overall, that tells you about where this team is overall. So no worry right now. But if we're middle of the season or towards the end of the season, you're seeing these reoccurring themes, you got to have a conversation.
Again, when do we come in on Monday and not have to hear I'm disgusted or I freaking hated or I freaking regretted my decision? Make the right decisions. That's your job. Why am I frustrated with plays busting after the timeout? Because you have the players in front of you for a minute. You are not. How do you come out of a timeout consistently? This isn't a one-off thing. Last season, this season, you come off of timeouts on defense, you can't get it together, you get beat. Philly this year, multiple occasions, twice against Philly, once against Minnesota. Last year, Baltimore. How many examples do you want? Stop it. When we get back, Jeff, we got to talk about Jaden Ivey, what he brings to the team, long-term potential, where the Pistons are at least with their progress and becoming contenders maybe in the near future in the East, that and much more. But before we go, the best defense on and off the field.
We talk about a defense that, listen, if you call a timeout with guardian alarm, you can rely on them. Because summertime is over, and that means you're still spending a little more time outside before the winter gets here. Let Guardian Alarm give you peace of mind. Just call 1-800-STAY-OUT today, and you can rest easy knowing you have 24/7 protection. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Let them know your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
First home run.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Time to talk about Swiss. I'm not talking about Hammond Swiss. Swiss Insurance Group. And did you know that 1 in 6 kids will develop a medical condition that makes them uninsurable? Swiss Insurance can save you money on your auto and home, resulting in no out-of-pocket costs to insure your children. Check with Mark at Swiss Insurance and make sure your family is protected.
All right. We are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, 9:44. We have a few minutes. Jeff, Jaden Ivey.
Special.
Could be something.
Could.
Walk me through his success this season and where it takes the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference for the next 2, 3, 4 years. We've seen what Cleveland have done, Orlando, some of the younger teams in the East, along with the teams right now that are contending. The East is no longer a joke.
No.
This is difficult, and you're going to need Ivey to be every bit of special that you expect him to be for this team to really take that next serious step.
No, you're right. I think even for the East, I mean, you're talking about to make the play-in, you got to win 40-plus games. Is that going to happen this year? I don't think so. Will Jaden Ivey help them do that this year? It's too early. I think you got to give Jaden Ivey time. He's a player that's going to have a lot of ups and downs this season. He's going to struggle at times, and you're going to show he's going to show flashes at times. But the things that he brings day one is his athleticism, his playmaking ability, his speed, which is something that I think is going to be one of the most important things. His ability to get up and down in transition, and now that you have more shooters, this team's going to be fun to watch. It really is. And for Jaden Ivey, I want everyone to kind of temper their expectations. For me, and this isn't any slight at Jaden Ivey, I still have Paulo Banchero as the favorite to win Rookie of the Year because I do see that ups and downs, for his rookie year for Jaden Ivey. The efficiency might not be there right away, especially from three, but the long-term play for Jaden Ivey is going to be special. It really is. Him and Cade Cunningham have a chance to be something in the NBA in terms of one of the most dynamic backcourts that we have in today's NBA, and they really do. They have all the potential in the world, and he just loves to be here. And that's big. Like for a guy who gets drafted to a team, and we've seen this in the past, by the way, where players get drafted and they don't necessarily want to be at the location they're at, and they're not necessarily giving them their all. Jaden Ivey loves it. He loves Detroit. He has the connections already here. He wants to play with Cade Cunningham. And the impact he said he wanted to make was, I want to take this team to the playoffs. I want to make the playoffs. Now, would they do that? No. But his mentality, you love that. I mean, they're breeding guys that all want to win, and it starts also with the rookies, and he's walking into a situation right now where the Pistons are getting better and better, and they're adding more talent. They're going to have a ton of money next offseason to spend. So for Jaden Ivey, it's exciting. I think they're going to win probably between 33 to 36 wins this season. But that's improvement, Adam. And if you can get a decent rookie season out of Jaden Ivey, I think for the long term, he's going to be very, very special. But that speed he brings day one is going to have the biggest impact. And having more guys that can handle the ball, besides just Killian and Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, look, I still believe Jaden Ivey has a chance to be the best player coming out of this draft class.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, I'm with you.
But my issue right now, it's not so much an issue or a concern, it's just the reality. They're 3 years away from being, I believe, really good. Could they be a play-in team not this year, but the following? Sure. But that really just depends on what Cade is. Is he a superstar? Because if he is, that changes the whole timeline, right? If Ivey comes into the league this year 16 a game, and then next year 22, 23, and he's a star, whoa. You're ready to compete overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is a question I have that no one has been able to answer for me yet. Is how realistic are expectations with this basketball team? Because I look at Steph Curry, I look at the Golden State Warriors, and I go back to when he was drafted. 4 straight losing seasons before they ever made the playoffs. I still think that is a reality this team has to face, again, unless Cade is Luka Doncic, where he's just too damn good early on. He's one of the better players at his position. And Ivey becomes something special. Now you have a 1 and 2 along with Bey. Okay, you could sell me on that. But realistically, these NBA players, man, they don't reach star level until year 4 or 5.
Right.
And you're 2, 3, 4 years away from that with multiple players on this team.
Well, they compared it to the Memphis Grizzlies. And when John Moran first arrived, they won 30-ish games. The following season, they took that next step. They made the play-in, and then, they made the play-in his first year, I believe, and then they take that step to win 50+. So it really depends on the players you have, Adam. I think that's the biggest thing for this season, figuring out what you have, because you might be ahead of schedule this year. You don't know. You don't know how Cade's going to look in his second year. You don't know what steps Sadiq's going to take. But if guys aren't there yet, you could be right. It could be in 3 years. But if those guys are farther along and Cade looks like an all-star next year or this season coming up, you might be quicker than you expect. It just depends, like your point you made, is players in the NBA typically don't reach their primes unless you're Luka Doncic. Right away, you're dynamic. The first couple years of playing. So we'll see where they are, where they line up this season, but you're going to have a lot of answers this season to a lot of questions about where this team stands in the Eastern Conference moving forward.
All right. Well, when we get back, mailbag time, get all of your questions in the Woodward Sports chat, and we'll be right back to answer them. But before we go, Jeff, could you tell everybody at home about Big Boy?
Yes, guys. Big Boy for a limited time only. All new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not just the Slim Jim, by the way. It's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a cheese. And guess what else is new? The Bacon Blue. How about upgrading those fries? They have the chili cheese fries, the baked potato fries, or the nacho fries. You can satisfy all of your taste buds at Big Boy.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Time for Mailbag. Let's start with Ethan Brown. How many third graders could Fish beat up? I would say a lot. We'll start there.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. There's some
Fish, I think you would kill them all.
You think so? There's
I
some
think
third
you'd
graders
knock
that are
them
tough.
out. One hitter quitter. 100%. You'd be Mike Tyson to those kids.
I feel
Would you bite their
honored.
ears off?
No, I will not
I
bite
think
their
you
ears
would.
off. No. I will not.
All right, let's see. Do you think Troy Weaver has another move up his sleeve this season, Jeff?
When doesn't he have a move up his sleeve? I think he's always at risk of making a deal. Like that's who Troy Weaver is. He's always, calling people. He's always on the phones. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Bojan Bogdanovic or Nerlens Noel or Alec Burks flip to the deadline. Like, I would not be surprised. We'll see. But contenders are going to be calling the Pistons. It's just a matter of if Troy wants the deal. So, yeah, absolutely. He's always going to be working the phones.
All right, which Detroit pro sports team do you think will win a championship first?
I'm still leaning with the Detroit Red Wings. I really am. I got so much faith in that organization. Really, majority because of who's leading it, Steve Yzerman. He has the most proven results out of all the general managers. And the Red Wings, as an organization, they've proved to me they can get there. So I'm going to go with the Red Wings.
I'm with you. 100% the Red Wings. Let's see. What else do we have here? If Michigan has problems with Iowa's offense this week, is it time to question their team? Jeff? Questions for you.
What was the question?
If Michigan has problems with Iowa's offense, is it time to question their defense?
You're definitely going to have questions. And like Anthony said, I think he put it best. The secondary has shown they can play to their competition, but that defensive line, they got to get pressure. If you're going to beat Ohio State or even face, Michigan State for all I know, as bad as they look, you got to get pressure on teams. You're facing Penn State in a month. That's going to be the biggest question mark for Michigan for me moving forward is how does that defensive line look as competition gets better and better? Because if their D-line can even have, 75% of the effect they had last year, they can win the Big Ten again.
Fair enough. With Reynolds and Williams not being three-down backs, would you start Justin Jackson, at running back since he is a three-down back?
I like Justin Jackson. I mean, that guy, he's produced in his career. I mean, he's a backup running back, but still, he's solid. I think you're going to see some of him this week. I think besides him and Craig's been, you saw flashes of him last year, what he can do, but overall, just someone you can rely on. I would have to go with Justin Jackson, to be honest with you. So maybe you do see him a lot more this week, but we'll see. It's really up to who they evaluate. Who does Deuce Staley want?
Will the Tigers get a GM soon? Okay, so, look, Scott Harris, I do believe will be exactly what Avila was, the president of baseball operations, and the general manager, likely without the general manager title. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong. I haven't heard anything since on whether or not they are going to legitimately pursue a GM. So that is a wait and see at the moment. Let's see. Adham, will you kill Motor City Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn if the Lions lose to the Seattle Chickens? No, it depends.
Exactly. Like the offense could crap the bed. We could be criticizing Ben Johnson.
And Minnesota were the better team. I can live with it on a Monday.
Right.
What I can't live with is your coach going out of his way to lose games. It is so hard to lose games like that. and it is a habit for this coaching staff. Not a fan of it.
I like this. I like the other question Jesse put because it's something that we're going to have to talk about. If the Lions win by 10-plus points in the next 2 games, does your views of the team change in terms of making a push for the wild card? Yes, it does, because it shows to me, even though you're 1-2, you could still beat teams that you should beat.
What do we agree that the wild card would be before the season?
About 8 wins, and they could still reach.
And
that.
they were a 7 or 8 win football team,
and they could still.
They're going to be in contention.
Let's see.
All right.
Adham,
what are the chances Michigan State lose 6 in a row? I don't know. At this point, very high.
You got a tough schedule coming up.
Very high.
My guy. It's a tough one.
Yeah, look, I'm not stressing it. They suck. So when you go,
it's easy to digest the future
when I can
when
just
you know
look, sit back and chill and all right, they suck. So when they lose, it doesn't hurt me anymore.
Yeah,
I'm immune to the pain.
I get that.
All right, let's see.
I like this. Jeff, who wins in a main event in an octagon? Adham versus Stick. The co-main, Sam Flannel versus Owen. Headliner, the prelim, Maz versus Terry.
Oh!
I would go Stick beats me.
Okay. He's like 6'5", yeah.
Sam Flannel versus Owen. I'm going to go Flannel Sam.
This is MMA, right?
And then Maz versus Terry. I'm going to go Terry.
Oh.
Terry would mess Maz up.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Maz. He's got that New York craziness.
Jeff, is this MMA?
I'm assuming so, yeah.
Okay. So it's full on.
We'll do company boxing. We'll just have everybody box. How about that? Let's see. Mailbag, who do you guys play in fantasy this week? I play in our league, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's a great question.
I think I play Roman. I'd have to double check.
I think I either play Braylon or Lentz, one of the two.
Yeah, I play Murphy, Sean Murphy.
Hey, Battle of the Pistons.
Yeah, he's getting.
Yeah, I'm playing Ryan Lentz. Interesting. He's 0-3.
You're gonna keep him. You're gonna keep him winless.
I better not lose to this kid.
You gotta keep him.
Sorry,
winless.
Ryan. I love you, buddy, but Jalen Waddle's questionable. Okay, I'm not happy about that. No problem. No problem. No problem at all. No problem at all. All right, didn't Terry? Let's see, beard and boxing.
Oh, Rob
yes,
Parker.
That is true.
Didn't he
that
box
is true.
Rob?
Yep.
That is it's
Way
Rob
back
Parker
in the day
actually.
at
Yep.
Joe
All right,
Louis
let's
Arena.
wrap up with a few more
great.
questions and we'll get out of here. Isn't it nice that with the Nets and the Celtics and the Sixers doing what they do, the Pistons are in the quote or are not in the dysfunctional franchise category? Seriously, what the hell's going on?
And I gotta give Tom Gores some credit because we like to crap on Tom Gores in the past. Not we, but generally Pistons fans in general will always say bad things. I think he's done a phenomenal job the last couple of years, bringing in Troy Weaver, allowing him to work and staying out of everybody's way. And honestly, on top of that, he's done some great things for the city lately. So as much as he's gotten flack in the past, sometimes deservedly so, I think the last couple of years he's done a great, fantastic job. So I got to give credit where it's due. And Tom Gores, yeah, I'm thankful that the Pistons aren't in that conversation for a dysfunctional franchise.
Where would Charles Woodson be drafted if he were to come out in next year's draft class?
Where would Charles Woodson be drafted?
I would say top 3.
Yeah, you're probably looking at Will Anderson, maybe a quarterback, and then.
Well, just in general, I'm just going to say top 3 because I know it's Charles Woodson, I get the same career, I take him number 1 overall.
Yeah, absolutely. But
it's like a redraft, right? Yeah. So if I know it's Charles Woodson coming out, but if it's Charles Woodson, the Heisman winner, I mean, at the time he was that guy,
yeah,
and he went high for a reason. So I would say top 3 for sure, minimum. That'll be it for us. We can't thank you enough for joining us this morning. As always, catch Big D at 11 o'clock. We'll be back on Thursday, tomorrow, 8 a.m. Catch us live over at woodwardsports.com. We appreciate it as always.
Mm-hmm.
You all have a good rest of your day. Westfall, we got to talk. Fish, go to hell.
Thank
Everybody
you.
else have a great
I
rest of your
will.
day. Talk soon.
Go watch Fun Sports today.